Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing my VCT EMEA Kickoff Pickems. I'm going to go through the whole bracket, give you who I think the two teams will make Bangkok are, and maybe some of the teams that won't do quite as well. If you guys enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, really helps me out. Go follow me on Twitter. I just got finished with my player ranking series where I ranked every player in Americas, EMEA, and Pacific. So you can go check those videos out if you're interested, as well as my power rankings to kind of get a good idea of maybe where I think these teams will end up at the end of the season. And yeah, let's get right into it. So we'll spend some more time on these first couple matchups, considering they're actually going to happen. Um, and then we'll kind of speed run a little bit the rest of the bracket. But Team Liquid, Koi, two interesting teams that I think will be towards that like middle to bottom section of EMEA. Liquid bringing in Camo, Patty Tech, and Kamek in the offseason, as well as Koi bringing in Flya, Soulcast, and Philo. To start with Liquid, they'll be moving Kiko over to the Smokes role, and Nats will presumably be continuing to play Sentinel and IGLing now, which the IGLing part I do have my questions about. But individually, I like Patty Tech. I actually do quite like Camo on the Smokes role. Wait, no, Camo. Kiko. There's too many K names on this team. There's Camo, Kiko, and Kamek all on the same team. It's too much. But I do like Kiko on this Smokes role. I like Nats on Sentinel, obviously. Again, I have my questions about the IGLing. And I like Patty Tech a lot. I think this team could work, but I think more likely they'll kind of be that middle of the pack team that's pretty consistent in the EMEA, but really isn't doing too much. Like they might make playoffs and as like the sixth or wait, no, like the eighth. Yeah, I think they would make playoffs most of the time, probably as like that eighth team, but not really do too much more than that. Not make any internationals or anything like that. But Koi, on the other hand, I do think has quite a bit of upside. I really like Flya as an IGL. I think he is so incredibly good. Soulcast, I think, has a really high upside. If you see or like hear about what he does in scrims for certain teams like Liquid in the past, Sliggy's talked about it. He's very good in those. I think a lot of what his stuff is getting over that match nerves. If he's gotten over that in tier 2, which I mean, he played decently well in the final, I believe, against Pacific to win a such. I guess he was statistically not the greatest, but he was good in that final. I think he could be a good player for this team. He could even be an elite player if he got over those nerves, but I don't think he'll fully get over that. I think he'll probably be good, and that'll be that. Um, and then Filu, I think, is even more obviously nervous. Like, if you watched those show matches against Karmine Core, every time I talk about Koi, this is what I talk about with Filu. It's just he was very obviously shaking. He would be like flicking around, doing a bunch of random shit. He's very obviously nervous. If he can get over that, I think he'll be a good player. And then Grubino and Shados coming over from last year, I think they're very good. So I am actually going to predict Koi in this game, kind of just to show that I believe in this team. Then next up, we have Karmine Core versus Navi. Karmine Core bringing in a full rebuild this offseason, which was kind of surprising considering I do think this team was actually a pretty good young team last year. But when you get a chance to bring in players like Elite, Sladok, Sugetsu, you kind of got to do it. As well as bringing in Aves, who I do think is a pretty decent tier 2 prospect. I just think, yeah, that is pretty great rebuild when like it's not a rebuild that was necessary, but like the players that you're bringing in, you get an opportunity to do that. You got to go for it. Then Navi, you got bringing in Koala, Ruxic, and Hero alongside Angel and Xiao. Xiao back on that initiator. Angel back, hopefully playing like a flex, like flash initiator kind of role, which I do think he would actually be pretty good at. He would get to play that Gecko that I do think has been his best agent over the past couple of years overall. And yeah, has been really good. Hero was really good in Fnatic last year. Koala has been a pretty solid duelist in tier 2. And then Ruxic, I think, has also been a solid smokes player in tier 2. But off the rip, I don't think this team will fully gel quite enough to beat Karmine Core, who does have some insane roster talent. Then this bottom half of the bracket, I do think very clearly has some worse teams. So you have Giants who in the offseason kind of just brought in a bunch of like pieces from other teams last year. You got Tomazi and Runner. You kept Cloud and Purpo. Purpo, I would assume, is going to be playing duelist on this team. That's what he did during the offseason. I guess Tomazi did play a little bit of it, but that was kind of like a secondary duelist kind of thing. Um, Cloud, yeah, IGLing now. I have my doubts about how good that will be. I think it could succeed, but I do think it'll kind of tank his individual performance a lot more than maybe some people expect. West Side, I think, was a really good prospect in Tier 2. I really, really like him. I think he'll be a really good player for this team. Tomazi, same thing. I think he was great last year. Maybe not great. He was good last year on Karmine Core. I think he'll be good. And then Runner, I don't know why people thought he was good last year for Vitality. He had a bad year. I believe in him overall, especially like specifically if he was playing Duelist or Sentinel, I would believe in him. But on this like flex initiator role, I believe in him a little bit less. So we'll have to see with him. BBL, I believe in a lot of the pieces here. To counter that. Like Yumpy, IGLing now. I believe in him a lot. I think he's great. I think he's been a great player on Liquid the past couple of years. I think his individual performance will take a little bit of a hit, but playing Flash Initiator, I think his best role, I do think he would kind of be like better. Like it would kind of even out where like he'll play better because he's playing his main role, but he'll also play worse because he's playing like as an IGL. Sociable, I think the best prospect in tier 2 in any region can play literally anything for you, as well as like be incredible at it. He's been really good in the offseason. I think he'll continue to be really good. In this BO5 against Giants, in the like Monsters Reloaded tournament, he played Omen, Phoenix, Yoru, and Sova on the 4 maps and went 74 and 63 in top frag for his team. Like, he's so good. Profek was one of the best smokes players in tier 2. Apparently was really sought after by a lot of teams according to Slicky. I really believe in him. Loon was one of my favorite duelists in tier 2 Turkey last year. I think he'll be pretty good on this team. And then for this tournament, they will have Vac subbing in for Shiwa. As far as I know, Vac was pretty good, but the last time he's played an official was in July of 2024. So I do have my doubts. I am going to pick Giants for that reason. Um, Otherwise, I would have gone BBL. Then Apex Gentlemates. Apex, I think, kind of had a pretty surprising offseason. Like when they came into tier 1, like when they won that Ascension final, I kind of expected them to retain all their talent, but they did get 2 players poached, Kayak and Soulcast. And now they bring in Fluorescent, and I'm gonna be entirely honest, I do not remember who it was that they. Um, I think it was. I don't even know how to pronounce this name, but this guy. I'm pretty sure it was this guy on the like there's like the esports tab in the actual like Valorant client. I think it's that guy. I have no idea who he is other than that he plays some Flash Initiator, I guess. Um, but yeah, they bring in him alongside Floor, who I do think has a lot of potential to be a great player. We just have to, I kind of have to see it first before I fully predict it. Like, yeah, she's been owning in game changers and has some insane mechanical talent. But I do think the decision making isn't quite there. Like we've seen some of these players with insane mechanical talent, like Demon One last year, specifically is kind of like the first one that a lot of people will think of. But like players like Kellogg's, players like Kiwi, who everyone was like, yeah, this guy has great mechanical talent, but like the decision making on those players was never fully there to kind of justify keeping them. So, and like they never developed it over the years either. So, an interesting team in Apex, one that I think will have to grow throughout the year, but to start probably won't be too great. And then Gentlemates, they brought in a few pieces that I like. I don't know a ton about Click. I don't know a ton about Mini either. But Zipon, one of the better players in the history of EMEA, Robbie BK, really solid IGL, and Kadavra, who was incredible for this team last year. Like very under the radar. He pretty much top fragged like all their games. Obviously, I'm not a huge stats guy, but like I do think he was pretty good last year. Now, I don't know how this team is going to gel. Their head coach, Goked, who I don't really talk about coaches that much because I don't know like specifically what they're doing, right? And within any team. But he was the head coach of Lev last year throughout the whole season up until June when they kind of turned it around. So I don't know. I like with concerns about how the team will gel, in my opinion. I don't know how good Gentlemates is going to be. But I do think they win this game against Apex just because Apex, like, I don't even know when, like, how much practice they're going to have with this new player either. So I don't know. Very interesting. And yeah, moving on to the rest of the bracket now. All right, now that we're on to the rest of the bracket, we can kind of go a little bit faster through each of these games. I think Foot will be pretty consistent this year. They have been over the past like 3 years now. I'm going to take them over Koi, or the past 2 years, and then now this will be the third year. I'm going to take them over Koi in this game, who I still think will be kind of growing together. Then Vitality, Karmine Core. Let me pull up who specifically I picked. I'm going to pick Vitality to win this initial matchup versus Karmine Core. I may have them playing later in the bracket. We'll see. I just think Vitality's individual skill will be kind of too much for Karmine Core when they have just started to play early in this tournament. Then I'll have Vitality kind of for the same reasons beating Foot here. I just think the individual skill will be a little bit too much for these first two teams who, if they do have a weakness, it will be that, in my opinion. I do think they are going to be more, well, like, put together teams than Vitality necessarily, just because I do have my questions about safe side yelling, but I don't think it, like, no matter how bad it is, it will not be as bad as NRG last year. It just won't be. Then Fnatic are going to be Giants, and Heretics are going to be Gentlemates. No questions there. Then I will have Heretics beating Fnatic here. I don't think Fnatic's going to be super great at this event, specifically without Leo. I think it just kind of lowers their ceiling quite a bit. Then Gentlemates Liquid. I'm going to take Liquid over Gentlemates. I reluctantly picked Gentlemates in the first game. I am not going to pick them over pretty much any other team. Navi, I think, has too high of a floor with Angel to kind of justify not picking them here. So I'm going to take them. And I also really like Xiao. I think their upside is actually pretty decent. Karmine Core, I'm going to take over BBL. I really like that roster. Koi, I'm going to take over Apex. Then I'll take Karmine Core over Koi for obvious reasons. Navi over Liquid. I think this game will be pretty close. It's two kind of middling teams, but I do think Navi definitely has more potential within there with Xiao, with Ruxic, with Hero, and Angel in the IGL slot that I believe in a lot more than most other IGLs. Then we got some really good games at the back end here. I'm going to take Heretics to make the final again, as they do, over Vitality. I think the individual skill will finally get matched, and the IGLing should be better with Boo. Then Foot Navi. This is pretty interesting. I think a lot of people are a little bit more down on Navi than I am. And I do think Foot should be pretty good. But in their first elimination game, I will actually take Navi over Foot. I guess Foot's first elimination game as a team with Zeus. I'm going to take Navi to get a little bit of an upset here. Then I'll take Karmine Core over Fnatic. A great battle of IGLs there. I really, really want to get this game, Sadak versus Boaster. Sadak, in the past, has gotten the best of Boaster outside of that one final. So, should be pretty interesting there. Then Karmine Core Navi, I'm going to take Sadak to get the better of Angel. I don't remember quite how that matchup has gone in the past, but is also a great battle of IGLs. Then in the rematch in the lower final, I'm going to take Karmine Core over Vitality in this huge game to make the international event. And then I will take Karmine Core again in the final. So I'll submit this, and then I'll go back through. So I have Karmine Corp and Heretics making the event. Karmine Corp winning the final just because Heretics never wins the final. Then them, I mean, they make a lower bracket run here going through kind of this gauntlet of teams at the bottom. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Again, these are kind of just more, I don't want to say me randomly picking teams, but it's a lot less like thought out than maybe my power rankings are necessarily. So let me know what you guys think in the comments regardless, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.